have the votes that have already been maybe announced earlier. Because we are not having any problem with the other areas. Even if you look at the trend of voting, it's 1,000 votes per polling area.
Mheshimiwa, we are happy that we are getting your input when we require. We understand the deputy governor has walked in and is also addressing the board. Kindly, if you could allow us in, then we'll catch up with you later.
But he's not a candidate, so how is he addressing the board?
That is what we want to find out in what that is why we want to find out in what capacity perhaps he could be addressing the board. So we understand Deputy Governor Kizito Wangalwa has just walked in and is addressing the board. And as we've heard from Dr. Otuoma, wants to know in what capacity would he be addressing the board, because he's not a candidate. But I believe that is what would want to hear.
We hired the vehicle yesterday, and they are ready.
All right, so there we have live images coming from Busia, and what we have is a standoff with announcements, having the election board getting ready to announce, and we're going to cross over and find out. We understand that the Deputy Governor Kizito has now assessed the tallying center, and just like Otoma has mentioned, let's cross over live and listen into him.
Ballot boxes and all the material, we couldn't get them this morning. That is the reason. That's why we are now to scramble to look for alternative means. And being at night, you know, people are sleeping. We could not get the owners of the vehicle in the middle of the night. And that's why, that explains partly why we are also late. It is not that we didn't know. We were aware and we had prepared for it.
Would you confirm the fears in Dr. Otuoma's camp that the delay, and given what you have explained to us, is intentional?
Now, as far as this election committee is concerned, we cannot say that it was intentional. Because, you see, there is a difference. People have to understand what is the role of this committee. What are we supposed to do? Now, the County Election Committee, of which I'm the chairman, we are only concerned in preparing the elections to make sure that the voters, the candidates, everything is in place for the exercise to take place. And with that, we did. Now, when it comes to the actual voting, there is a parallel body, which is the returning officer. The returning officer is a person who has special powers in carrying out the elections. If there is any problem within a polling station, the first person to be consulted is the returning officer, because the returning officer is the one who should be able to deal with the situation. But I must also add, I too, in my capacity as the chairman, I am also a returning officer at the county level. So, at the county level, I am also a returning officer. Now, if there were problems at the polling stations and so on, this committee was being informed, and we were alerting the returning officers and presiding officers on the ground.
Mr. Chairman,
yeah.
There's also provision of technology, and I understand you had a special phone where your returning officers were relaying results to you.
Yes.
These were provisional results, yeah. But how comes that since 12 hours later, you've not even informed us of any provisional results, let alone official results, and yet you're receiving...
Now, what happened was, we had a special phone for relaying the results. But unfortunately, the presiding officers not in some, but in most polling stations did not use that mechanism. So that, and that's why we didn't release it, in that it was very fragmentary. You would get one polling station in a ward giving the results, then you get the next one from a different ward. So it was not useful. We saw it was not useful because it was fragmented.
But don't you think that this is what has caused anxiety to the level of almost people being thrown out of this room today?
Now, I can say that there was a delay, but even if you are to use the phone, for purpose of announcing the results, the ballot papers have to be there, for the simple reason that anybody, any candidate can verify. And how does he verify? He does not open the boxes, but he can go to the tally sheet, whereby he can confirm that in each particular ward, the polling station in each ward, he got so many votes. So, and then you add up all that, because that tally sheet is signed and co-signed by agents of all candidates.
Mr. Chair,
So from there they can check and they can count for themselves. And in fact, if the candidates got together, they should be able to know the results much faster even than ourselves.
Mr. Chair, how long are we going to wait? Because I think what could be bringing a problem here is the fact that last night there was that communication that 90% of the provisional results were in. Now you are saying that unfortunately in most polling stations, the presiding officers did not use the mechanism that was supposed to relay the results first. So what exactly are we talking about? Isn't that a contradiction, and maybe what is causing the confusion?
I told you that by last night there were 90% results in. They might have been at the polling stations, but they had not been relayed to us. So as a committee, we don't act on rumors. We have to get official results from the returning officer, and official results are countersigned by the agents. So if we announced particular results and the agents will come up and say, sorry, we didn't put our signatures to those results. So for us, we have to get the tally sheets to confirm everything.
So it's 8 a.m. and are we now going to expect results that you'll be announcing as per every polling station, because there are 175? And if that's so, for how long are we going to wait? Because the country is anxious, this having been one of the first zones that the party decided to do the primaries, and people are anxious and they're wondering if a mere party primary is taking this long, what could happen in other areas perhaps where the party has a higher number of supporters?
No, we are not going to go by polling station. What is happening is these materials are being brought here for verification. We have been given, at least I have been given, the official results by returning officers at the constituency level. And those the results I'm going to read out. Now, those materials are there for any candidate who would like to verify. So it is not that we are going to go to every polling station to announce. No, we are just going to announce the results, and those who are not satisfied can now come, and we are prepared. We shall sit, even if it means until tomorrow, for transparency's sake, for them to go through the tally sheets, add up, and confirm the figures that were given to us.
Okay, so for purposes in the event that nobody will try to contest, for how long should we wait for the results, for the provisionals at least?
Now, that will depend as to when the vehicle from Budalangi will be arriving, because apart from loading at Budalangi, it has also to load at Funyula. Yeah.
But surely, Chairman, ODM is a big party.
Yes.
We expect you to be able to handle the logistical challenges that come with this sort of a thing. Why are you only using one vehicle?
I've told you that we're not. I've explained it to you earlier why we're in this situation, because the vehicles we had hired, the people abandoned us in the morning. Yeah. And being at night, we couldn't get an alternative means quickly enough. So we had to use with the little we had on the ground.
So how many are we relying on? How many tractors are we relying on?
No, like North, Teso North is coming with its own vehicle. Teso South is coming with its own vehicle. Butula is coming with its own vehicle. It's only Budalangi and Funyula simply because they are on the same road. For those who do not know, from Budalangi to Busia, you pass on the same road, and Nangina is just on the main road. So that's why we found it prudent to use the same vehicle. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is the chairman of...
The chairman, they are trying to actually put some confusion and cock up here just to show us how things are moving on. We'll be trying to talk to Deputy Governor Kizito Wangalwa. Could you just be kind enough and grant us an interview? We are live on KTN. What is exactly happening? Because it appears there is some confusion and nobody knows exactly what could be at play here.
I think the statement from the returning officer says where the delay is, and for us, we are anxious. We really hope that if it was a problem where maybe they have not facilitated the elections board to bring the material, we would have stepped in as candidates to ensure that the materials come here. But they have assured us that the vehicles have already been deployed to ensure that the election material is here. Well, we are also aware that all the tallying, the tallies from the returning officer as the returning officers in the sub-counties is already here. And therefore, for us, the delay is not drawn by our team. The delay is drawn by the other team because they have said they want all the materials here, the ballot boxes here, the tally sheets here, before the official announcement can be made. So for us, we were ready. We are ready to receive any outcome that the returning officers have. So we'll be patient to wait for the materials to come in.
Your opponents actually claiming that your team, that is the governor, and by extension yourself, the reason why there is this cock-up, they are stuffing ballot boxes because they've raised claims that, for instance, in an area in Amagoro, that a village that is said to have had over 4,000 voters. Is that the case, or is it just mere accusations?
As candidates, we have no responsibility for running the election. The elections are being run by the board. The returning officer is here. He just talked about the deployment of returning officers in the sub-counties, the presiding officers at every polling station. And therefore, for us, as candidates, we have done our bit. We have mobilized the voters. They have cast their votes. And we mobilized for ourselves. We didn't mobilize for any other candidate. We didn't mobilize for women rep. We didn't mobilize for MCA. We didn't mobilize for MP. We mobilized the votes for the governor. And therefore, if there is any discrepancy in a polling station, I think we are not responsible for that discrepancy. We would want to see the results and the ballot papers here.
Well, of course, it is the responsibility of the election board to conduct the election and make sure they are credible. Now, the other team says there could be manipulation. On your end, can you say that you've also been able to hear such reports that there have been perhaps some manipulation in some sections? Because to them, we have. And what about your end?
No, we have seen a few omissions by the board in terms of preparedness, but as candidates, we sat down and agreed that we will vote in the manner advised by the elections board, and that is how the voting took place. Of course, we noticed a few areas where there was multiple voting. That we noticed, but it wasn't as significant because we had our agents in all polling stations, and we were able to see if a nearby station closed, and by 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock people are still streaming in, we were able to intervene and have that stopped. So there was, of course, a few omissions, but for us, the omissions do not nullify the exercise as it took place. So we are ready for any result. Yeah.
So by and large, if you are to credit or to give your rating on the exercise, was it a success? Was it a fair? Was it a flop?
This is not the first primary that we are getting involved in. We have had other primaries, and I must confess that this was a little better organized, more consultative than previous primaries. So as a party, we must say, I think we are in the right path to be able to carry out primaries in a more credible manner. But there is a lot of room for improvement, which we will be proposing to the party as we move on.
According to Dr. Paulo Thomas Camp, they have their own tallying center. They have made their projections, 64,000 to the governor's 40,000. I don't know. Do you have your figures, early projections?
Yes, we have our projections. We have. We know that yes, there are sub-counties that are called in favor of Otuoma, Mheshimiwa Otuoma, that we accept. There are also sub-counties that are called in favor of the governor, that we also acknowledge, and our tallying is totally different. We are anticipating that Governor Jamong has up and about a few polling stations still awaited. We are hitting about 105 now, and as you say, Paulo Tuoma should be doing about 50,000. Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving those figures, because I wanted to draw you to what they were purporting according to their tally, that of their 130 out of the 175 polling stations, their projections were reading 62,379 against your own of 39,874. And the number that you've mentioned, about 105 as things stand, they've said that they know that their numbers have stagnated at 70,000, whereas your numbers have shot up to 100,000, but you've said 105. What could be at play here? Because now those are two camps purporting to have their own tallying centers, each camp releasing their own results that have totally huge, wide margins between their opponents.
We are just falling short of claiming victory, and that we didn't want to. We are waiting for the returning officer to make the official statement on the results, because the results of the returning officer are the valid results. Ours are our projections from the polling centers as we have them now. So we are basically short of claiming victory in the governor's race for Busia County.
So for how long are you willing to wait? To them, they are running out of patience. They are saying they want the whole the election called. And you've said you are short of calling victory, but you want to give that responsibility to the elections board, the county elections board. For how long are you willing to wait? Or are you also anxious that the whole exercise be called?
We didn't stop the exercise for the presiding officer from proceeding with the exercise. It is the Otuoma camp that stopped the process, and therefore it is upon them to unlock whatever they locked. We were ready as early as 6 o'clock to receive the results from the returning officer. Yeah.
And where is the governor as we speak, kindly?
We are here on behalf of the governor, and he will be here to receive his certificate. Yeah.
So you are here in your capacity as now the governor's chief agent, or what? Because the candidates we are talking about is Sospito Jamong and Paulo Tuoma.
The governor himself, as a candidate, will be here to receive his certificate. We are here on his behalf, as his agents and his supporters. Thank you.
Just one question. Yesterday, or starting yesterday, we had the governor making pronouncements that he has facilitated the process, expressing his disappointment. This morning, we are hearing drivers failed to cooperate. Do you see a hand from would you admit there's a hand from the governor's side in terms of the delay that is going on?
What was required of the candidates is to help the party run the election. Period. It ended there. Whatever was required from us, we did. And therefore, our role ended there. The rest is up to the party and the elections board to manage.
Will you accept the results if the other side, the Dr. Paulo Thomas Camp, is declared the winner?
That is the essence of competition, that there must be a result in favor of one person. And therefore, we are ready for any results. We are ready for any results. Yeah.
Well, there you have it, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Kizito Wangalwa, saying he is here in his capacity as the chief agent of their candidate, that's Governor Sospita Ojamong, and all camps, as you've rightly said, they are claiming victory. According to their projections, they have about 105,000 and counting. According to Paul Otoma, they have 70,000. Now, each Otoma's camp says they have 70,000 against their opponents at 34,000. Them, they are saying Otoma has 55,000. They have 105,000. So that is, I think, the drama that will soon be unfolding here. And as you've seen, the deputy governor says they are just short of calling it an election simply because they don't want to usurp the responsibility of the county election board. And as what the chairman said, the hitch could have, the cock-up arose after some drivers actually withdrew after having volunteered. And there you have Paulo Toma walking into the room, coming to now walking in, and that is what we hear. So we'll hear what Dr. Thomas says.
You know truly that when you left here, they had around less than 40,000. We had 70,000. We have still remained at 70,000. Now he's claiming they have 100,000. From where? The Teso votes have not even arrived here. Teso South and Teso Nini. And you have been told by even the aspirants there that they are just being staffed. But these fellows are taking no action. And this Oluku, who was responsible for that area, you know, he's an employee of the government. And we have raised that issue. How come it's only his area that is having problems? How can you tell me two constituencies can produce 60,000 votes? Is that the impression he's trying to create for us? And then they are saying, at the announce and then go to court and go to tribunal. You announce nonsense for what? Because we subjected ourselves to the election, and the will of the people of Busia must be respected. You don't take us, you know, you remember the governor was saying that this is a PR exercise. To us, it was not a PR exercise. We thought we are going through a democratic process.
Why can't Oluku go for those documents?
Because he's an employee. We said, how can a player? And it's only his area that is having problem. Now he has manipulated figures to say that he has produced 60,000 people. And he has only received things on the phone, and he's saying he wants to announce. And then we go and complain. Complain where? You have seen the trend in the whole constituency. You want to tell me it's only two constituencies that know how to vote more than others? And the deputy governor is not a candidate. I don't know even what he's addressing. He's not a candidate.
The deputy governor says he's the chief agent.
After all, he's going to be dropped, so I don't know even what he's announcing. You are not a candidate. You better shut up. Yeah. You are not a candidate.
The deputy.
Start subjecting the people of Busia to all this nonsense. This mediocrity you people have been doing here, you think you can perpetuate it? You are not a candidate. We told the NEB that this is a wrong fellow. Look, it's only the areas he's in charge of that are having issues. And then they say they have received phone calls, they want to announce. If we want, we go and complain. How did he get 60,000 votes all of a sudden? Because he's saying they have 105. And you know they had around 40. So where is that one coming from?
Actually 39. They
They had around 39. So where is 60,000 coming from?
with more than 90%.
Where does
And
that?
he's the one who announced last night that 90% of the vote, the results were here.
Mheshimiwa, this is a clear standoff. This is a clear standoff. Both ends having their own tally. So
This is complete theft. This is a waste of our time. You know, the kind of things they have been doing in the county is what they want to subject us. You saw the governor standing and saying these are PR exercise. He has appointed his officers. How come only one section of the whole county is having issues? Even other aspirants, they are saying all their people have been chased away. Boxes are just being stuffed. Where are we being subjected to this nonsense? They should have given him a direct nomination. And now we are being taken through a charade here. We are waiting for this and that. You want to tell me only two constituencies can produce 60,000 and the other people produce how many? And now the total will be like almost 170,000 people voted. Not minority. Forget that. Those are not my words. 170,000 people participated in these elections. Is that what they are trying to tell us? And then you say, just announce. Then you go and complain. I mean, why take us through an exercise in futility?
Should it be called off, Mheshimiwa, now that it seems...
Me, what I'm saying is that the will of the people of Busia must be respected. You have got all those results. All these other areas you can see. There's no polling station with more than 1,000 or 2,000 people. Then you reach a place, you start finding 4,000. Where? And even here, Busia, which is an urban area, cannot produce those kind of votes. And you just stuff for the women rep to justify for the governorship. Yeah?
So,
because you could see the women rep votes that he announced here. There were 48,000. Out of that, 35,000 are from one area. The rest of the areas, people are just getting 6,000, 5,000. Huh? This nonsense that has been happening here in the county, they cannot subject us to that. Huh? And you cannot take us through an exercise, then say that now you go and complain, or you go and launch a complaint, or you go to court, when you are just seeing glaring nonsense, all this. Huh? And these individuals were given the mandate. We have complained, we have told the police, we have told the National Election Board. Now look at this, wasting our time and resources.
So, Mheshimiwa, because each side is holding its ground, how would you want this crisis to be resolved?
The will of the people of Busia is going to be respected. That one I can tell you for free. So long as I'm alive, it will have to be respected. That one I can tell you for free. The area where some junior people just sit down and say that they give you a ticket, it can never work. Never work. At you just junior officials sit down and write for you a receipt, and then you take a ticket of a party and we follow you like dogs. We are not dogs, not slaves of anybody. So I'm just assuring you that the will of the people is going to be respected. And we are not going to leave this party for anybody, as we have no plan B. This is our party, and you must respect our will. And I can tell you for free, a bit of this charade is to create a situation for plan B. To start saying, you see, we voted so many, we were denied, now it is us to decide plan B. All this is just choreographed to achieve that. That's exactly what it is choreographed for. To show that we had a lot of votes, then we were denied, now let us execute plan B. This is what the setup is all about. So all these exercises you are seeing, from 9 when he announced that 90% of the results are in, can you tell me for 10% is what we have been waiting for? Everything else remains static, apart from one area and one candidate, to move from 40 to 90,000. I mean, to 100,000.
We've asked the chair that question, and he has said that he did not at any point announce that. So
but
perhaps
you are the one who interviewed this gentleman, or you didn't interview him?
Yes, but the chair says he was not part. He was not part. He says he was not part of that announcement, and therefore we cannot hold him to account on that aspect.
But you can hold him to account.
Right now.
Yeah, because he's one of the officials.
He said it, you people had.
Yeah, and you are the ones who interviewed him. And I have told you, this has been an employee of the government. They will look at the people who have disappeared with the boxes, they are employees of the government. He himself is on TV record saying that I had arranged vehicles to collect boxes. Now I don't know where these things are. So what kind of, this was just supposed to be a PR exercise? Now we come here, you tell us, we will just announce and you people seek remedy. You know, don't take us for granted. We are leaders in our own right. And we are not leading fools. People can see. You can't come here and subject our people to this nonsense and you say, go and then you can go and appeal and do what? What kind of decision is that? And we told them from the word go, let not a player appoint referee.
Mr. Chair, if you could just give us a direction, because both sides are here and you've listened to what they've said. If you could just tell us what is the way forward, because this clearly appears to be a standoff. Kindly, if you could only allow the...
Please shut up.
Kindly, if you could only allow the chair to give us direction from the way forward,
So why they have killed so many of our people? The revolution in the
coming with their there's only one side. what would you say? Because the deputy governor has given figures saying, according to their projections, they have 105,000 against their opponents 55. According to Dr. Otoma, they had over 70,000 against their opponents 39,000, and they are saying they are not going to take any results that is not according to their tally. What is the way forward?
The way forward is, like I said before, we bring here the tally sheets, and any candidate can look at the tally sheet and just tabulate how many